We had thought that politics might take a back seat this year. I mean, there's no election. We wanted to keep Politifest going, so we said we're going to plow through. We're going to celebrate neighborhoods. Obviously, some things have happened recently, and rather than step away from it, we think we want to take the conversation head on. There's a lot of people in town that keep saying, oh, they're embarrassed about San Diego. They're embarrassed about what's happening. They're embarrassed about our image around the country. I'm not. I'm proud of San Diego. We're having a difficult conversation. We're having a difficult conversation about the standards that women should have to put up with, the standards for women in public affairs, respect for women in public affairs and in the workplace. And I'm proud that we're having that conversation and we're facing it head on. We started Politifest for the sheer purpose of creating a forum, a comfortable forum where you could bring your kids and your monkeys and your snakes, and you could come and you could talk about the future of San Diego, and you could do it in a nice setting, and that's why we started. And we have to talk about the future of San Diego right now. So I'd like to welcome our guests for this. Please welcome City Attorney Jan Goldsmith, Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez, Assembly Majority Leader Toni Atkins, City Council President Todd Gloria, City Councilman Kevin Faulconer, and I'm sorry, what? Are you new? Or yeah, no. Mark Kersey. I already made an impact with some of the infrastructure stuff. Very excited to talk about everything. So let's just jump in. So the first question, I'm just going to start down the line. Councilman Faulconer, what do we do now?
Well, thanks, Scott.
You can get up if you want to.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting us all today. Looking forward to this. And let me just, what do we do now? We keep doing what we're doing as San Diegans. And we are better than what Bob Filner is putting us through, ladies and gentlemen. And you have seen that. You've seen that united. You've seen that crossing party lines, Republicans, Democrats, all demographics, people that believe in this city, believe in our neighborhoods, believe in the work that we have to do. And we've been very united as a city council, focusing on where do we go from here? We make sure we're doing the job that you elected us to do. Focusing on our neighborhoods, on our streets, our parks, our libraries, our public safety. Make no mistake, it's very difficult right now. It's extremely difficult. The eyes of the nation are on San Diego for all of the wrong reasons. But at the same time, we are so much better as a city. We're going to keep moving forward. The one person that can change this, and I hope he does the right thing, is Bob Filner. If he wants to put the best interests of the city forward, he will resign, and resign immediately. And we can go back to doing what we're going to do. But in the meantime, I can tell you, from all of us here, particularly all of us on the city council, we will get the job done. We will continue to move forward. That's what you elected us to do. That's what you should expect us. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, all of us love San Diego. I've been on the council now for a number of years. I'm not going to have a big, long soliloquy here. We've been through some very difficult times. Enron by the sea, frozen out of the financial markets. We got through that then. We are going to get through this now. Thank you.
So I'm going to stay seated. I'm not running for mayor. And so hopefully that's all right. I think this is an interesting question of where do we go from here, because I'm going to speak to it purely from where I am, in the progressive majority that elected finally a progressive mayor in this city after years and actually decades of trying. And I think we as progressives, what we have to realize is, unfortunately, we elected a very flawed human being, one who needs to resign and needs to resign immediately so we can continue with the business of the city. But what we don't do is we don't cede control of a city that for years we have been trying to focus on neighborhoods and people outside of the hands of downtown interests and special interests and giving really that power back to the people. We don't cede that. And we ensure that we can distinguish the difference between a jerk that we elected as mayor and what our progressive movement stands for, and that's where we go from here.
You know, it really doesn't make... Let me just say something. I'm seated. And I am the lawyer, and I represent the city of San Diego, and only the city of San Diego, a municipal corporation that we all own. And so I'm accountable to you. You're the shareholders, and we're going to protect the city of San Diego. What I'm doing next is we're getting prepared to take Bob Filner's deposition and put him under oath and cross-examine him, as well as the other witnesses, and get to the heart of this. We've already sued him, so that if we're responsible because of his conduct, he's going to have to reimburse us. We, as a city, have said, no, we're not going to pay for your legal fees. We are conducting an investigation, and we're not going to put up with obstruction to our investigation by people in the mayoral office. We're going to be aggressive about it, and we won't back down. But let me just say one thing. We, in the litigation context, we will give Bob Filner an out if he does the right thing. We will be aggressive, and to the extent it's appropriate under the law and the facts, he's going to be held totally responsible. And he's got a lot of legal problems, and they are mounting. But he will be given a way out. And that, to me, is the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
So, just to be clear, you are not running for mayor then?
That's correct.
Todd?
Stand up, Todd! Stand up, Todd!
Calm down, calm down. We'll deal with that later. The question is about what we're doing now, and as the council president, it is important to me that we stay focused on the issues of the people. Now, it's going to be really hard to do. I don't want to mislead you on how easy that will be. When you all voted for the strong mayor, or some of you voted for the strong mayor, strong council form of government, we have two branches of government. Both of them have to work effectively and efficiently if we want to move the city forward. I'm here to tell you the council's doing its part, but obviously we have an executive branch that is literally physically not present in our city at this time. And so it makes the work harder to do. But that said, I think you've seen for the last 7 months the council has worked together in a bipartisan fashion to try and get things done, to bring a bike sharing program to our city, to pass a prevailing wage ordinance that's not been seen in this city before but needed to be done. That we've done do the kinds of things that do what was said during the campaign, which is to turn the focus to our neighborhoods. Mark Kersey is the chair of our infrastructure committee, and he's doing great work to finally stop talking about our roads, our sidewalks, our public facilities, the stuff that you have never heard talked about by this council. We've been doing that. We will continue to do that. But ladies and gentlemen, you elected all of us to go into our respective bodies to get stuff done. And I'm here to tell you it's much harder to get stuff done, to get the results that you demand of us with Bob Filner as mayor. And that's why he has to resign, allow us to put this nightmare behind us and move forward on that pro-neighborhood agenda that we all voted for last fall.
Thank you. Well, it's really great to be here, and I am thrilled to see so many people engaged in a conversation that's so important for our city. San Diego has been here before. We've been in positions of crisis, and what I count on certainly is the people in this city. I think that the voters in San Diego have been cheated out of an opportunity for a progressive vision for this city to move forward that said would focus on neighborhoods, on public safety, on infrastructure, on transparency and open government. And unfortunately, we don't have that because other issues are taking center stage right now. So what I think we need to do is a little of what you've already heard. We need to move forward regardless. I mean, hey, on a bad day, we're in San Diego. And let me just share with you, as I've been in Sacramento these last several years, a bad day in San Diego, it's like that fishing thing, a bad day in San Diego, it's a good day. But here's what I think we need to do. We do need to stay focused. We need to stay focused on implementation of that vision that people wanted, that progressive vision that is about making sure that we finally find a way to pay for our infrastructure, that we pay attention to public safety, that we do it in a way that is transparent and open and includes all of our neighborhoods. And I think all of us have a role to play. The last time we were in a position where a mayor resigned and we had a reduced council, we came together. At that time, we were implementing the strong mayor council form of government. And at that time, we knew that there would be things that needed to be reconsidered at a time down the road once we had implemented that system. And I think we're seeing now that there is work work to be done on charter review that gets to the issue of what you do when you have a leader that is either incapacitated, where you have a recall situation that's not clearly defined in law. These are things we need to be focused on so that we can move forward. And I have a great belief in the civic leaders, the business leaders, the community leaders in San Diego. They stepped forward last time. And when I was in the position to pick up the reins and be acting mayor, people stepped forward, and we will do that again. We do need our mayor to resign. We need him to realize that he will get due process. He will be able to get the assistance and the therapy that he needs. But he needs to do it in a way that allows the city to move forward. And that would require him to step down and let us pick up the reins and move forward. As your state legislator, I have the ability to make sure that the relationship between the city and the state is in place. And I will be committed, along with my colleague, Ms. Gonzalez, to do that at the state. And that's what I'm prepared to do with you.
I have some ideas on that.
Well, thank you all for having me here. It's a beautiful day here in Point Loma. I've been in office for 7 months, and people ask me all the time, is this job what you expected? The answer to that is a pretty easy one at this point. None of us could have anticipated this, and there's no question that Bob Filner needs to resign. But what we need to do, since we can't force him to resign, is we need to be focused on our job. And my job right now, primarily, is figuring out how to rebuild San Diego. And as Todd mentioned, I'm the chairman of the Infrastructure Committee, and we are taking a hard look at all of the ways in which we have historically done a bad job of planning for and prioritizing and ultimately investing in our city's infrastructure. Everything from streets and roads to sidewalks, storm drains, water mains, libraries, fire stations, etc. And historically, we have done a bad job of tracking all of those things, of maintaining all of those things, and then we get to the point where they fall apart, and we wonder why. And so our job here is to go back and look at all that, actually have a strategic plan for going forward to dig us out of this billion-dollar-plus hole that we have when it comes to deferred infrastructure projects, and put us on a path forward. And so that's what I stay focused on. It's a huge challenge. We didn't create this problem overnight. We're not going to solve it overnight, but we are making progress. We took good steps this week towards the city's first ever citywide comprehensive sidewalk condition and needs assessment. We've never done one of these before, and we're going to get it done. We fought to get that money put in the budget, and it's in there, and we're going to get that done. And that's the first step towards realizing understanding how much it's going to cost, where all the problems are, and how we're going to fix it. So we're working hard. It is easy to get distracted, but we are not taking our eye off the ball, and we're going to keep doing our jobs. Thank you.
These fine folks, though, aren't going to let me leave without asking a couple of tough questions. And I have to ask the Democrats who did support Bob Filner on the panel here, what did we know about his flaws, and how do we know going forward we're not going to have any surprises like this in the future? Toni, would you start?
Well, sure. I did support Bob Filner for mayor. I supported that progressive agenda and vision. I think many of us who've known Bob for 3 decades or more know that he is demanding, that he is difficult, sometimes even abrasive. You know, that can get the job done. I think what we didn't foresee or know is there's a huge difference between being abrasive, demanding, and difficult and sexual harassment. And, you know, probably as stuff started to unfold within 2 days, I had an opportunity to talk to 2 people, 2 women that have since come forward. And, you know, there's a big difference between hearing someone has a difficult personality and someone sexually abused me. And how do we avoid that in the future? You know, maybe it is on each and every one of us to ask the tough questions of the candidate and not shy away from that and say, you know, this might be a touchy thing, but I've heard. You know, hearing someone's abrasive, you know, what does that mean? Do we need to delve into that more? I mean, I think it's really unfortunate those of us were put in this position, and we bear some responsibility there. But I do think that when you realize there is a problem, which is why within 48 hours, as someone who supported Bob and that progressive vision, I stepped forward and said, I can't support you, given that these allegations to me seem incredibly credible.
Lorena?
Well, you know, I'm not going to even try to suggest that in the future we could avoid any personality flaw from being seen on either side, right? People are individuals. We don't know their entire life. Were there rumors? Yes. And let's be honest, there were rumors about both candidates, right? There were rumors that none of us wanted to talk about, that Voice didn't want to talk about, that were swirling around this entire election. That's the truth. And in every political campaign, there will be rumors. We knew that Bob Faulconer was a single man who asked a lot of women out on dates. That's not illegal. Was he creepy? Sure, in my opinion, he's a 70-year-old man that, I don't find attractive. But if I base my entire decision on whether I'm going to elect somebody because I find them unattractive, then I'm not voting for a whole lot of politicians. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. But what we didn't know, and I will also say what Toni said. What we didn't, not on this stage, of course, all very attractive politicians. Sorry.
I'm not a politician.
I realized, I forget that I'm a politician now, too. I'm not supposed to say those things. But in reality, it's this. There were a lot of rumors. But as soon as I heard, I was proud to be the first elected official on the Democratic side to stand up and ask him to resign, and I will tell you why. As soon as I received a phone call from a woman who I knew and admired, who later came forward, and some who haven't come forward yet, and they talked about workplace harassment, actual illegal activity, first-sourced people. That's a different situation than just rumors and innuendo and feeling creepy around somebody. That's different. And as soon as we knew that, we did the responsible thing. We came forward. I know Toni and I came forward on that very first day and said, this is enough. He's got to go. This is not acceptable. That's what responsible elected officials do. And we can't stand by, though, and say no elected official in the future is not going to have some kind of personal problem we don't know about. It's just not realistic.
I would echo a lot of the comments that Toni and Lorena made, and I would applaud both of them for speaking out so quickly, and also Donna Fry, Corey Briggs, and Marco Gonzalez for bringing this information to the public. These were rumors. Now that we have some more information, it was incumbent upon anyone, particularly progressives and people who believe as a political organization that we stand up for women, that we support civil rights, that we would not stand idly by, and that we would take action when given information. When I was given that information, I too came forward on the same day and said, this is not working, you have got to go. Due process, yes, by all means, but you need to take care of that, not on the taxpayer dime, not as the mayor of the 8th largest city in the country. The only other thing I would add, Scott, would be that, this does require some self-reflection, some soul-searching, some thought about how do we handle this on a go-forward basis. But it's important to me that we not reorder structures of this city based around one personality. We got a lemon, right? We bought a lemon last November. And I'll say like Lorena, we didn't have two great choices, ladies and gentlemen. I think we all know that. We were forced to choose between two not particularly appealing options, and we made the best choice that we can, and it turned out to be a lemon. We're going to look at these problems that we have. Mark Kersey's raised an issue about the unconstitutionality of our recall process. We're going to meet as a council on August 28th to address that issue and fix it. There are other things that we probably need to go back to the charter and fix, but I want to make sure that we're doing it for good government reasons, not for Bob Faulconer reasons.
Dan, you asked to say something about this, but I'm also going to put you on the spot about why are we only finding out about holes in the city charter or in the municipal code right now? What did you know in the past too?
I hadn't used the recall process for decades, but what I wanted to say was something that I'm detecting. This isn't the time for pointing fingers and as to who's responsible and who knew what. We're facing a real crisis in our city, and we really do need to come together. What Bob Faulconer has is not easily discoverable, believe me. And it took me a little while to see it, and I worked with this fellow in his office, and so did my attorneys for 7 months, and had to deal with it. This isn't about sex, this is about power. And this isn't about a person who's easily discovered as to what the real source of the problem is. Professionals will disagree. Republicans can make all the hay they want out of it, but I had to do some self-reflection on Randy Cunningham because I endorsed him when he ran. That's not easy. We as a community are being embarrassed nationally But we as a community can do some soul searching, and I think Toni made the best point in the selection of our candidates. Character counts. Looking deep into our candidates counts a lot, and we ought to learn from it. But in the meantime, let's not point the fingers. Let's face the issue we have before us. It's serious.